I know the loss of a pregnancy is there's so much fear for women on a fertility journey, whether they've been, like forced to do IVF or told they're never able to have a kid. What have you learned emotionally, or like how do you, having that experience of a loss of a pregnancy and that heartbreak, how have you been able to like move through, or how were you able to move through the fear of that in your next pregnancy? And do you speak to people, or are you hearing conversation around like the letting go? Because I know a lot of people, they try for so many years and they do all the hormones, and it's just like a really kind of nightmarish process for them. And then they give up. And the minute they give up and like adopt or go down another path, that's when they get pregnant.
Yeah.
So talk to me about some things that you've learned
Yeah.
there.
I would say like, even if somebody hasn't had issues with their pregnancy, it's always stressful because of just the encounters at the doctor's offices, the short, doctors don't have, the time and space to really like sit down with you and explain what's going on. Like the ultrasounds, every little thing is so stressful. I mean, I feel like at least for me it was, even with my first pregnancy when I had like no issues whatsoever. So I think when Vida and I were creating WeNatal, we thought, okay, we want to create the best possible product for women and men to be able to support them physically, to be able to bridge those nutrient gaps that they're not able to get from their diet. But we also knew that there was a whole mind body connection that we wanted to address, because yes, it's physical, but it's also mental. And so with that, we created a manifestation journal that has 3 chapters in it. One is about setting intentions with your partner. And then we have like kind of the main part of the journal is a gratitude prompt that you use every single day for 3 minutes. And it's finding gratitude for yourself, for your partner, for your future child. And, I think like when we were creating it back then, maybe like a gratitude journal seemed a little bit more like fringe, but I would say like now the research is catching up with gratitude and how gratitude can actually impact your physiology. And so that's just one tool. And, over the holidays, last Christmas, we send affirmation cards to all of our customers with daily affirmations. And so it's always a conversation, and not everybody likes to journal and not everybody likes to pull cards. And I think everybody just needs to find what works for them. But that's just kind of, what we did. And we always talk about this with our community. And of course, like, your app sounds like an amazing way to support. And I would love for when it comes out to share it with our community and talk about like the different modalities that you have in there.
Thank you. Yeah, we feel like it could totally be a support for someone on a journey that's stressful, and it gives them the tools to meet them where they're at, and like give them the tools to calm their system and really get back into that state of gratitude and conscious manifestation of what they want, which is a child. But so often our brains go to the threat and the fear,
Yeah. And I think also like we always talk about like, listen, when you know that you did everything possible, you did the work, you're taking the nutrients, your partner is, you're doing all the things, you're going to acupuncture, then at some point you just have to like let go. And you talk about this all the time too. If you're so focused on like your goal and like the timeline, like God has its own timeline, and you just have to trust the universe that when it happens, it happens. And I think, maybe for me and for you, it's easier to say because we've been through it and we have I have my rainbow baby, you have your daughter. And so we know that when it happens in the right timeline that's perfect for you. But again, when I was having my miscarriage back then, I could have never imagined the life that I have now. But I would say my hard work, and God revealed a greater plan for me.
Yeah. There's so much stigma around miscarriages. I'd love for you to, speak about that. But first, like, I feel that it's pretty common, and maybe you know more statistics or studies on this, for a woman to have a healthy pregnancy, and then between the next one that comes to fruition, there's sometimes a miscarriage that's just a cleansing of the system or a reboot of the system. Like, I feel like that's a common time, like between the first and second pregnancy. Do you know what I'm saying? Or do you see like patterns or things that people can prepare for?
There's something interesting. So I had my first when I was 38 and had no issues. And then again, when I was 41, I had my miscarriage. And then I gave birth to Emma when I was 42. And there's an incredible author. Her name is Rebecca Fett. She has a book called It Starts with the Egg. And that book really changed my life because she talks about all of the nutrients that you can use to improve your egg quality. And a lot of what we developed with WeNatal is based on her recommendations. And of course, like Dr. Hyman and our team. But in that book, she had one chapter on men's health. And really, that's kind of what created the light bulb aha moment for me. But one interesting piece in that book, in the chapter of men's health, is that she talks about how when your eggs are young, they have the ability to correct issues in the sperm. But when your eggs are older, they can't overcompensate for issues in the sperm anymore, which is why a lot of women have secondary infertility or they have losses their second pregnancy. And so all of that to say is that it's super important to invest in sperm quality, improving sperm quality, and especially as we age, because for women, we can improve our egg quality, but we're not constantly regenerating our egg quality. And so that's like one thing that we talk about all the time is like this myth that as you age, your eggs age with you. They don't. Your mitochondria actually ages with you. And so your mitochondria is the battery of the cell, or like the battery that your eggs have. And when you are in this time of trying to conceive, it's important to improve your mitochondria, and then you can improve your egg quality. But in the same token, the same goes with sperm. And a lot of people think that men, because they can reproduce at any age, like if you're 80 years old and you're a man, you can have children. Al Pacino did it. Mick Jagger did it. And so we have this perception that men don't age, but actually their sperm quality does age. And it's very important for men after the age of 35 to improve their sperm quality, especially if the egg is older, because it can't overcompensate for that sperm quality anymore.